Say goodbye to the penny because the government is officially phasing it out. The U.S. Mint has made its final order of penny blanks and plans to stop producing the coin when those run out. According to the Treasury Department, the 1-cent coin actually costs nearly 4 cents to make. The Trump administration says eliminating the penny is expected to save the country $56 million a year.
How many pennies do you have in your penny bank sitting at home or in your closet? Hopefully it's not a lot, because at the beginning of 2026, that's just 2 months away, the US penny will officially begin phasing out. In fact, in today's video, we're going to see some stores that are already rounding up and rounding down to the closest nickel because they are not accepting pennies anymore. They still will be accepted like $12.04 swiping with your credit or debit card, but not in cash starting at the beginning of 2026, phasing out through the rest of the year. Let's check out the story. Let's check out some clips, and let's find out what's going to happen to the US penny and why.
Retailers are asking Congress for a new law to allow them to round up purchases to the nearest nickel as supplies of pennies dry up. So Bloomberg reports in a letter to lawmakers, retail groups say that businesses can't give exact change any longer. President Trump signed an executive order in February to phase out the penny, which costs nearly 4 cents to produce. The retail groups include convenience stores, supermarkets, restaurants, truck stops, and gas stations.
Yeah, if you didn't know that, it actually costs more money for the US Mint to produce the penny than it cost for the value of the penny, which is 1 cent. It costs them 4 cents. And that, of course, is because we have equipment, machinery, buildings, employees, people tasked with actually producing pennies. They cannot produce them fast enough and in big enough quantities to make up for that expense and to cover what goes into the material and that equipment and that overhead into a single penny. It's 4 cents. And that's why we're phasing them out. Fox 5 News' Elise Edie actually makes it even more clear just how much this is costing us and why they're getting rid of it. Check her out here on Fox 5 News.
Say goodbye to the penny because the government is officially phasing it out. The U.S. Mint has made its final order of penny blanks and plans to stop producing the coin when those run out. According to the Treasury Department, the 1-cent coin actually costs nearly 4 cents to make. The Trump administration says eliminating the penny is expected to save the country $56 million a year. Download Fox Local for
$56 million a year we are losing simply by producing a penny. That is bananas. So rough math, if we lose 3 cents for every single penny and we type in $56 million, $56 million divided by 3 cents means 1,866,666,666.7 pennies a year are produced. Man, I would love to figure out a way to make $56 million simply by not making something else, by getting rid of waste. Absolutely insane. This country loses $56 million. What can we do with that $56 million now? How many homeless people, how many hungry people, how many SNAP benefits, how many people can we feed and house, and what can we do with that money? $56 million. One more thing, gone. Good for the government.
President Trump is ordering the U.S. Mint to stop making pennies. He says it costs 2 cents to make every 1 cent, that it makes no sense, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And other countries have done this too. So what's the potential impact?
Yeah, I mean, this had a lot of sort of people talking after this. President Trump said he wants the Mint to stop making pennies. And they actually take, we looked at last year's data, it takes 3 cents now to make your average penny. And that is
inflation on the creation of the penny.
Inflation on this. And so,
And this was a few months ago, and they've recalculated it nearly, it's like 3.9998 cents, so almost 4 cents actually.
The thinking here is the U.S. lost about $20 million making pennies. This happens all the time. Sometimes we lose $60 or $80 million a year making pennies. Maybe not a lot in the $4 trillion government budget, but economists for a long time have said this is a waste of our money. Because think about it, Diana, it's not just that we're spending those 3 cents. What do you do with a penny when you get it? You take it home, you stick it in your piggy bank, you put it in a jar. It's not like you're recirculating it. So then when grocery stores run out of pennies to give you, what do? They ask the Mint for more pennies, and we're continually making these 3 cent pieces, even though they only cost us 1 cent. So President Trump's had enough, and a lot of economists.
Yeah, that's a good point. majority of the pennies are not circulating in the economy, not being spent because people hoard them in piggy banks or in jars and those giant water tubes. You know what I'm talking about, the 5-gallon water jugs that you drink out of. People have those full of coins in their closet with hundreds of dollars in coins in there. This is a really good point that he's making, that people are not spending it, and so that's just not helping the economy either. Now, this guy argues that it actually might cost us more money to stop making pennies than it costs us in loss of making them. Listen to what he has to say, because this is an interesting take, and I haven't seen anybody arguing this take from him, but let's just hear what he has to say.
So I went down a rabbit hole on Donald Trump ending the pennies, and let me tell you why it might not be such a good idea. So we've all heard that the penny costs like 2.5 cents to make each penny. Well, according to Americans for Common Sense, which is, of all things, a pro-penny group, they put out a press release, and they say, in fact, removing the penny would have a significant negative impact on the U.S. Mint's cost structure. Many overhead expenses at the Mint would remain and would need to be distributed into other coins, increasing their per-unit costs. Additionally, without the penny, the demand for nickels would rise to fill the gap in small value transactions. If we get rid of the penny, we'll do what other countries do, such as Canada, which you round up or round down. But considering our math education in this country, if you're paying with cash now, most cashiers struggle to give you correct change. So I can't imagine them trying to figure out if they need to round up to 55 cents or down to 50 cents.
This is a great question, but it's sad that we have to question that, no pun intended, in this country of whether or not our cashiers and our workers can figure out the math to round up, round down, and what amount of change to give us after they figure out whether they're supposed to round up or round down. That's absolutely insane. Side note, I didn't know that Canada already did rounding up and rounding down. I've actually never been to Canada. Big shocker. I've been to a lot of places. I've been to like 20 countries. I've not been to Canada north of the border. Never even been to Niagara Falls. So maybe I'll put that on my to-do list in the next year or two.
To give you a nickel or not. So there's that. Since each nickel costs nearly 14 cents. So Donald Trump wants to get rid of a penny that costs 2.5 cents to make and use nickels that cost 14 cents to make. I'm sure nobody's told him that number, but according to Americans for Common Sense, a nickel costs nearly 14 cents to produce. And that shift would drive up overall production expenses for the government. So instead of saving money, getting rid of the penny would actually increase and redistribute financial burdens across the whole U.S. Mint system. And since many of those costs would just have to be absorbed without the penny, it's not just the nickel that would increase in price per unit. It would also be the dimes and the quarters and the half dollars and the dollar coins. So getting rid of the penny doesn't save the government any money, let alone what it does to the consumer price index, as we all know corporations will price in some sort of inconvenience fee for them that just makes them richer and costs us more money, which thus rises the consumer price index, which thus makes prices go higher and drives inflation. So really, there's no benefit to getting rid of the penny. I don't like the penny. I'm fine if it goes away, but not if it's going to cost all of us more money.
So I want to price check that right now. He says that the nickel costs more than 14 cents and will go up even more. So what does a nickel actually cost? A nickel cost to make? I don't know. Let's ask. It costs about 13.78 cents to make and distribute a single nickel, which is significantly more than its 5-cent face value. The production cost has risen due to the increasing price of raw material like the copper and the nickel. Production costs at 13.78 during the U.S. Mint's 2024 annual report. The government loses about 8.78 cents on every nickel it produces. Long-term issue, the cost of producing a nickel has been higher than its face value for 19 consecutive years. The last year was 2006, and it cost us 5.1 cents to produce a nickel, where we were about breaking even. Now, we have a problem with the penny, the nickel. This guy could be right. That's insane. So now it costs 14 cents to make a nickel. With all the overhead that we're getting rid of on the penny, we're still going to have a little bit left over. Those people are going to get sucked into the nickel cost of production. It's going to go to 15, 16, 17 cents. We're now losing 12, 11, 10, 11, 12 cents on a nickel where we were only losing like 3 cents on a penny. What is going on with the U.S. economy and coins and mint and pennies? And dear God, why can't we do anything effectively in this country? So this video from this guy talks about how the pennies going away could potentially make some of them worth a lot of money. Watch what he says about how you could get rich, or at least make a little extra scratch from pennies that go away, and the reason why. Check him out.
The penny's potential value is about to make a dramatic shift. Let me explain why I think that. So today I stopped at McDonald's and there was a sign on the menu that says penny phase out. It says, due to the U.S. penny phase out, we would appreciate your help in providing exact change when using credit and debit cards when possible. And when you pay in cash, you need to round up or round down to the nearest 5 cents because pennies are becoming harder and harder to get a hold of. Even today, when I stopped at the bank, I was unable to buy a couple boxes of pennies. Banks are having a hard time keeping them in stock. And what happens when supplies get low? Demand goes up and the value for the penny is going to rise. We're already seeing boxes of pennies sell for 3, 4, 5 times face value, but I think they can go a lot higher. So if you can get your hands on a few boxes of pennies, it might be a good idea to buy them, put them away in the closet somewhere, and who knows, maybe 5, 10 years down the line, they're going to be worth a lot of money. Honestly, there's no way you're going to lose money. Post in the comments down below if you're able to buy pennies at your local banks, or if any of the businesses around your area are having problems keeping pennies. Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.
Interesting thought process. Should we stack and stockpile a bunch of pennies for in 10 years, 15, 20 years? Are they going to be worth anything? I can't imagine. So maybe there'll be some rare ones that'll float around, but maybe in 100 years, maybe when our kids and grandkids are getting older, maybe they'll be worth something. I have a jug over in the closet that we keep all of our change. We don't ever pay anything in cash, but we get coins from here and there. In my car, I keep like $5 worth of quarters and dimes and coins in case we go to machines or need it, or like parking or tolls or whatever. Keep that in both of the glove boxes. And I keep that jug in the closet, probably with, I don't know, a couple $100s in it. It's just got coins. Usually once a year, we'll roll the coins up. We keep stacks of rolls in there, roll them up, take them to the bank and make a deposit for $300 or $400 or $500, right? And it's just extra money we put into the bank. Great. But I don't think keeping them or buying up thousands of dollars in coins and pennies and stick them in your closet is going to be a great investment. If you got the money, you don't care, and you want to take a shot at it, by all means. I just don't see it really happening. What do you think? All right, on par with my channel, I'm going to end this one in a very funny video. We like to do a little bit of comedy at the end of our videos, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of each video and you'll see the comedy that I've chosen for the day. This one is, of course, a man using wheelbarrows of pennies to pay his bill or fine or ticket or whatever it is. I'm sure the people that collect this stuff and have been paid in pennies, in wheelbarrows, and have to take the money because it is legal U.S. tender will be thrilled to know this will not be happening again unless some ding-dong decides to pay them $3,000 in nickels. But here we go. Let's check him out.
Guy is pushing a wheelbarrow full of pennies into the Department of Motor Vehicles to pay a bill.
He broke into his piggy bank.
Nick Stafford took revenge on his local DMV by paying auto sales tax with 5 wheelbarrows of pennies.
How much was the total tax bill?
$987.45.
$2,987.45.
That's correct.
The staff at the DMV office in Lebanon, Virginia had to count each penny by hand, and there were 298,745 of them. Where do you even get all those pennies?
Got the pennies from the bank. They came rolled in the paper rolls. So instead of just taking the pennies and rolls to the DMV, I paid 11 people to come in with hammers and break up the penny rolls.
Then there was the price of the wheelbarrows he needed to carry 1,600 pounds of pennies.
Clearly, this guy had an axe to grind with the DMV. Something happened. I'll have to find a backstory, but this guy was not at all happy with the DMV. He bought all these pennies. He paid people to open them up instead of leaving them in rolls, and then he bought wheelbarrows and then rolled them in to the DMV. Clearly, somebody pulled the old FAFO, F around, and find out scenario, and he made them find out. This is grade A trolling, hilarious.
Total cost, $2,000. This ended up costing you quite a bit of money. Was it all really worth it?
Absolutely, worth every penny of it. I did spend a lot to get the pennies down there, but I think I proved my point, and that in and of itself is priceless.
I wonder what the point was. Literally, somebody look into this. Comment back here. What was this guy trying to prove to these people? It had to have been something that they fined him for or overcharged him, and he was just not happy about it. But in the future, he's not going to be able to do that because no one's going to accept pennies. Pretty funny story. As always, thank you, everybody, for spending your time with me here on the video. Make sure you take a second to share this video on your social media, anywhere you can share it, on your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it. Really, really appreciate that. It means the most to me. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Come back, watch future videos. And until the next one, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you later.